I'm just in the cut, sitting sideways. Way that you looking all the time. Timing it left you with a broken heart.
Why people live in LA.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
You get it now?
Yeah.
You see why I hype it up that hard?
That's what the first thing I put on my Facebook. I was like, I'm in LA. I get it, LeBron.
A traditional bank doesn't lend our industry really well. They'll do asset-based lending with personal guarantee. Like put your house up. Right. And so in most cases, people don't want to do that. So the Shopify Capital actually becomes pretty interesting. If you use it, it helps your business, you pay it down fast, it'll give you access to more money. It's expensive in terms of loan, but it's cheaper than like selling a part of your business to somebody. If you're confident that you can put it to good use and really move product, I would do it in a heartbeat.
We did a run of shirts, sold out the first night. We took our money back out, and then we bought more shirts, and then just kept re-upping. Like, we've never taken a loan. We've never. It's 100% of the company we own. We fully self-sustaining since day one. So everything we do is with the money that we've made.
There's a lot you could do with blanks that I would explore before you go dive into making cut and sew stuff, because most of the time that stuff doesn't sell for anybody.
Should we go investor route? Should we get a lump of money? Do you think it's best to continue the slow grind on what we're doing? Or I've loved our story of it's been just us two guys chasing a dream, but at a point I feel like it may be starting to hurt us.
I think you need to find high margin opportunities. That way you're not tying up your money in production and this and that. Like, that's where all the money gets eaten up. Where, you know, if you could figure out a way to do $30,000 a month in sales, which isn't a far stretch from where you guys are,
I agree,
that it could change your whole business. I just think if you were to take that Shopify loan, know exactly what you want to do with it.
I always want to do a big. It's so funny saying a big money post compared to what you posted. So an Ohio big post at $300 just to see what would happen. And within that first day, we made $10,000 in poster sales.
You have to come up with a story that makes you want to tell, hey Joe, you hear what these guys are doing?
Okay, so having it organically just
but you have to really think unbiased. Is this interesting?
Plenty cold winters, many hot summers. Top of that list when it come to up and comers. All that hard working is worth it. Look at the numbers. Put them on the board. I'm scoring and scoring jumpers. More coming. I'm a straight shooter.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god!
That guy's not gonna be welcome back in Colombia. Wow. I don't really care who wins. Why isn't the United States in the World Cup? Oh, they won! Oh man. Alright kids, we're gonna learn something today. We're sitting down here with my brother, Anand. Pan camera to Anand.
What's up?
Anand is our CFO for all of our brands and businesses. He's been with us since 2007, right?
2007.
2007. He's a former investment banker at Citigroup and has pretty much been running all our money since we got started, because we're not good at that. And so I wanted to kind of give you guys like some key takeaways from when you're running a business. A lot of people ask me about, you know, how you should treat finances. So I figure who better to teach you guys than him, because he's been doing it for us for so long. So what's a good software to just keep track of everything?
I think QuickBooks is a pretty basic software, very self-explanatory.
And it's cheap.
It's cheap, very cheap.
Okay, and then what about like, where does Microsoft Excel fall into that?
So Excel is my favorite program to manage finances because it's very easy to use. And as an investment banker, that's all we use to model out businesses, model out cash flow, and you know, you can export QuickBooks files to Excel. Almost every financial application you can export to Excel. So it's great. It's a great platform to use to.
So if you don't know how to use Microsoft Excel, where do you learn?
Google.
Google.
Just Google Excel and Google shortcuts. Google everything.
The
Everything's
shortcuts
on
are
Google.
the key, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so now you have QuickBooks, you use Microsoft Excel. What are things, like you're just starting out, right? most people when they're starting out, the sales part they probably don't have. So how do they keep track of expenses? How do they keep track of costs? Like, how do you do those things?
Well, enter everything in QuickBooks. We've been doing that since 2007, even before I was there. Everything was on QuickBooks. Literally enter every single invoice, every single production PO. Just make sure everything is trackable, because the moment it's not in a centralized system, you're going to lose track of everything.
And what about for sales? How about you can input sales into QuickBooks as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then gross sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, so, I mean, I think a lot of people also struggle with, because we've obviously seen plenty of pitch decks, people they don't understand the difference between gross sales and net sales.
Yeah.
Could you explain that to people?
Yeah, the difference between gross sales is what you actually sold. Net sales is after discounts, returns. And depending if you're a marketplace, so there's gross merchandise value, which is what your actual takeaway is.
So a marketplace is...
So like Uber.
Uber,
for example, you have a $5 Uber.
Yeah.
That's not that's not Uber's revenue.
Yeah.
Their revenue is the take of that $5, which is typically 20%, depending on drivers' incentives, etc. So their revenue on that $5 ride was $1.
Got it. So that's what people consider GMV versus net sales.
Yep.
And then what about what are some key metrics people should be looking at in their business? I mean, obviously, like for us, I did a little video on like growth and customer acquisition costs and stuff like that. But what are some more higher level stuff that kind of applies to everybody?
Well, I guess it depends on the type of business.
Yeah. So say manufacturing.
Manufacturing inventory. That's by far the most important aspect of our business.
Yeah. And so obviously even for us, it's very challenging to track inventory because you have to install systems in order to do it. So when we were smaller, what would we do? Just hand counts every month?
Yeah, that's exactly what. I mean, when we were smaller, our warehouse was attached to the office. We would literally just go downstairs and say like, we have all this shit sitting here. We can get rid of it.
Yeah. And so inventory management is probably finance 101 in terms of like how to monetize obviously your cash flow. And I feel like people don't realize keeping track of your inventory can put you out of business.
For manufacturing, it's by far the most important thing.
What about if it's not manufacturing? What about if it's like a service business? Is there anything different?
For service business, it's probably, what your CapEx is in terms of whatever platform you're building out. Yeah. Whether, your investment in building out products, and then growth, acquiring customers for that service. Yeah. So that's a little different.
Yeah, there's not like a fixed, it's just whatever labor there is attached to it. And then what about...
And not knowing your gross margin. Yeah. That's probably the biggest.
Yeah. And what are key things that like a founder, a CEO should always know when it comes to the finances of their business? Because obviously, like I have a fairly good understanding of what's going on in here, but like what are some things that people don't know? They should know.
Always manage your cash. That's probably the most important thing. More important than reporting. Most companies aren't backed by Silicon Valley venture firms. Yeah. So your typical company doesn't have $50 million in the bank account. Yeah. Right? That they can just burn through.
So what's that? What do you call that cash flow analysis? Like how do you...
I mean, the first thing I do every morning is go into our bank accounts. Yeah. For all our businesses and see what money we have. Yeah. What was debited the day before. Yeah. And making sure nothing is fishy. Yeah. And everything checks out. Yeah. And then I start my day.
You know what would be actually really good to let people know? Wire fraud is real. So there are people out there phishing email accounts. So, one of the things, we have very strict protocol on who sends wire, how wires are sent. And I think this is something that was never even shared to us till we were a victim of it, which is people kind of phishing email addresses, telling you to send a wire here. So like we have many steps before a wire is sent, like physically. So I think those are things that you guys should keep aware of because, it's funny, no one tells you that wire fraud is happening until you tell someone and they're like, oh, that happened to me. Because I think people are ashamed of it. It happened to me in another business and it was devastating for our business.
You should probably explain what they're doing, how they're...
Yeah, maybe you can explain because it happened to you a couple times.
So it actually happens monthly. Yeah. I get an email that spoofs your email.
Yeah.
So if I just open my mail, it says D at 5 4 Clothing,
Yeah.
and it says please wire $50,000 to X account.
Yeah.
Our wire protocol, the way we send, it won't work on us.
Yeah.
Because I actually won't send a wire until I physically talk to whoever is authorizing the wire.
Yeah.
Like if someone in our business is asking for a payment, unless I physically talk to them, not just email, it has to be either WhatsApp, phone call, or in person. I won't just do it off an email.
Yeah.
So, but if you do it off an email, you have to click on the details of the email
and see
what the actual address is.
Because it could be,
and it's some random
it could be some bullshit email or some version of our email.
Yeah,
like a different URL.
It's pretty easy to sniff out, but if you're not taking the precaution on how you send money, you can easily fall for it.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy. What about like, when we started doing a lot of business, I hired obviously my brother to handle the finances. How do people find? I mean, like, how would you hire someone now, accounting, or you just don't give them the privileges?
Yeah, I think it's pretty limited on access.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the benefit of hiring someone you trust, you have to be the double check. Yeah. Even if you have a CFO that's sending out wires, you better be watching every single transaction that's happening.
Because I feel like a lot of CEOs are just like, oh, I have an accounting guy, and the accounting guy is cleaning his clock.
Yeah, I would be very suspicious of if a founder wasn't tracking the cash of the business. Yeah. Because it's so much leakage.
Yeah, it's so easy to write a check here, a pack,
I mean, we had a controller before I got here.
Oh, yeah.
He was...
I won't mention his name. Fucking thief.
He would add to his payroll every pay period. Some pay periods he would add $100, some periods add $500.
Whatever he needed.
And when I first got here, I started noticing his pay was never the same. And I asked you, I was like, what's going on? Do you pay him a different salary every week? And he was just taking advantage.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that, we've obviously, we're all almost 200 people, so our cost structure is a little more complex. One of the things we just did an exercise recently was looking at all the recurring charges. You don't realize how much shit you just sign up for.
Yeah.
That's $50 a person, $10 a person. You have Zendesk, you have live chat, you have this.
This is why all these software companies worth billions of dollars.
Yeah, we were signed up for 400 things, and then they add up to like $100,000 a month at the end of the, and then we're like, where is all this money going? So I feel like looking at recurring charges like quarterly is probably a good.
Yeah.
Because you just sign up for stuff. You don't even realize.
Especially when you're a bigger corporation and managers have the authority to sign up for their little silo.
Yeah.
You can easily get away from you.
Yeah.
And then if there's turnover with managers, they won't even tell you that they had signed up for this. So.
Yeah, I mean, like we had an issue where we moved some customer service folks to another country. But we were still paying the seat licenses domestically, and it was thousands of dollars a month that no one was even thought to cancel.
You have to just be detail oriented on all transactions. Reporting is a completely different conversation. That's for another time.
Yeah, that'll be another vlog.
But in terms of just basics, being able to survive, you have to know every dollar in and out of your business.
Yeah.
If you're not tracking that to the penny, you're probably missing stuff.
Yeah, that's good. All right, save your money. Save your money for the next vlog.